Hello, YouTube. I'm Vince White. I'm an employment attorney, and we are answering publicly posted questions from YouTube users, getting folks the answers they need from an employment attorney. We have a question from YouTube user Al D, who asked us about last chance agreements. He asked, "Hi, Vince. Why would an employer make an employee sign a last chance agreement?" I'll stop right there and answer that first part of the question. So essentially, they want to terminate an employee for something they did, but that employee has union rights or some kind of civil service protection, something like that, right? They're not necessarily an at-will employee. So the employer is going to say, there's a hearing or an arbitration or a grievance process if we fire this person. We don't want to go through that. That's a big hassle. Maybe they even don't really want to fire the person. They just feel like they have to, right? So they might go to you and say, in the process, the build up to arbitration or the hearing, they might say, hey, if you enter into an agreement that this is your last chance ever, your last chance here, if you mess this up, you're done, no hearing, we'll let you stay. And that is why people sign that, because sometimes people will be facing an arbitration or a hearing where they're pretty sure what they did, there's enough evidence to terminate them. So they might say, I'll take that last chance agreement so I don't have to go to arbitration, and I'll just keep myself clean and out of trouble for a period of time. So Al D goes on later in the question to say, should there be an expiration date on the last chance agreement? Always. Always, because if you're on a last chance agreement that goes forever, then the rest of your career, you're working without a net, right? The reason, presumably, that you took the job you're at is because it's a union job or it's got some kind of civil service protections or something. You didn't want to be an at-will employee. You wanted some protections. You wanted that safe government job, union job, whatever it is. And if you don't have an end date on your last chance agreement, it's basically like for the rest of your time at that job, you're just at will, which is not what you wanted. So you absolutely need that last chance agreement to have an end date where you go back to having your union or civil service protections. Okay. LD asks, what steps should be taken beforehand? That's going to be something for your union to advise you about. Although I would say if you're accepting a last chance agreement, you may want to run it by an employment attorney sometimes, because sometimes unions will get you into these last chance agreements that are like pretty onerous, and a lot of times that's just because you had a union rep who didn't care, or a union rep who was maybe new, fresh, green, a little incompetent. So if you're not confident in your union representation, I would suggest first go up the chain of the command of the union and maybe check with other people and make sure you're getting the representation you need. Two, you can always talk to a local employment attorney and have them review a last chance agreement if you need. And the last part of LD's question is, if there should be an expiration date on a last chance agreement, how long should it be in effect? As short as you can possibly make it. I've seen a lot of 90 days. That's common. I mean, listen, if you can get it 30 days, you can get it 24 hours. Perfect. Just don't get yourself in trouble for 24 hours, right? But I mean, the answer from my perspective, because I really only care about employees, that's my job, that's my career, is that the last chance agreement should be as short as humanly possible, right? Now the employer is going to want it to be as long as humanly possible because they figure, hey, this person's got to behave for the maximum amount of time. That'd be great. And also a lot of the time they actually do want to fire you. They just don't want to do it with a hearing necessarily. So that's why they want it to be longer. They want longer runway for that employee to mess up and get terminated. Okay. Anyways, I hope this was helpful, Al. It's always good to hear from you. Always good to see your questions. And if it was helpful, folks, like and subscribe. It helps me to help more people just like you. I hope 2023 is going well for everybody.